We're moving in next week, my mother-in-law, Eleanor, announced during Christmas dinner, slicing into the turkey with the same sharp casualness she always used when critiquing my life decisions. Your guest room will be perfect for us, and now that Richard's retired, we can finally be one big, happy family. I glanced at my husband, Michael. He rose slowly, his wine glass shaking ever so slightly in his hand, before saying words that turned our elegant dining room into a war zone. That's interesting, he began, because we sold the house yesterday. The silence that followed was so thick I could hear the grandfather clock ticking away in the hallway, counting down to inevitable chaos. Eleanor's fork froze midway to her mouth, gravy dripping onto her festive sweater, the one embroidered with Grandma's house, Grandma's rules. Richard's face cycled through several shades of purple before settling on a shocking burgundy that clashed with the holiday decor. What did you just say? Eleanor whispered, a tone far more terrifying than her usual foghorn-level volume. Michael placed his glass down with careful precision. We sold the house. Closed yesterday at 4 p.m. New owners take possession January 15th. Michael Andrew Davidson. Eleanor rose from her chair like a kraken surfacing from the deep. You sold your house without telling your parents. Our house, I corrected softly, though my heart pounded. We sold our house. Her gaze snapped to me, laser-focused. This is your doing, isn't it, Nora? Always trying to separate my son from his family. Actually, Michael said, steady as stone, it was my idea. And before you start your usual rant about Nora corrupting me, you should know exactly why we sold it. Richard finally spoke. Son, what's happening? Is this about money? We could have helped. It's not about money, Michael said, scrolling on his phone. It's about boundaries, respect, and the 47 times you violated both in the past year alone. 47? Eleanor sputtered. You're counting. No, Michael said, showing them the phone screen. Our security system is counting. He began enumerating. Every time you used the emergency key to let yourself in. Every time you surprised us by redecorating. Every time you threw away Nora's belongings because they didn't match your vision for the house. Those throw pillows were hideous, Eleanor defended. And that painting in the hallway was from our honeymoon, I added. Painted by a local artist in Santorini, I clarified. But you wouldn't know, because you donated it to Goodwill without asking. I was at work. I was trying to help by replacing the bedroom furniture, she argued. Michael's voice rose for the first time. By telling the neighbors Nora couldn't keep house properly. By scheduling contractors to renovate our kitchen without permission. My sister-in-law Patricia, who had been silent, nervously cleared her throat. Mom, you did renovate the kitchen. It needed it. That backsplash was from the Stone Age, 2019, I said flatly. We only just finished paying for it. Michael continued, and that's not even the worst part. Show them what happened last month, Nora. I pulled out my phone, hands trembling slightly as I found the video. Our doorbell camera had captured everything. Eleanor leading her book club through our home while we were at work, giving a grand tour, and explaining her plans for once she moved in. This is the office, Eleanor's voice chirped on the video. Of course, it'll become Richard's den. Nora doesn't really need a home office. She can work at the kitchen table like a normal person. Eleanor went pale. You were recording me? The security system was recording, Michael corrected. The same system that caught you telling the contractor we approved removing the wall between the kitchen and living room. The same system that recorded you measuring our bedroom for your furniture, so you could sleep in the guest room. I never said that. Would you like me to play that recording too? I asked sweetly. Richard held up a hand. Enough. Eleanor, is this true? I was planning ahead. They have all the space we pay for, she said defensively. Michael interrupted. In the house we bought with the jobs you constantly belittle. I don't belittle. Nora's just playing career woman until babies come along. Thank God I'm here to help when the grandchildren arrive. Eleanor exploded. You're 34, Michael. When am I getting grandchildren? Never, he said calmly. The words hung in the air like a gauntlet. You don't mean that, Eleanor gasped. I absolutely do, he said, taking my hand. We've been trying for 2 years, fertility treatments, specialists, heartbreak. And you know what didn't help? Coming home to find the room we hoped would be a nursery had been turned into a craft room for your hobbies. I squeezed his hand, remembering that awful day. The soft yellow walls we painted together erased, the rocking chair my mother gave us shoved into the garage, everything wiped away as if our dreams meant nothing. I didn't know, Eleanor whispered. Because you never asked, Michael said. You just assumed. Just like you assumed we'd welcome you moving in without so much as a conversation. Just like you assumed our home was yours to rearrange. Just like you assumed Nora was the problem when I stopped answering your calls. Where will you go? Richard asked softly. If you've sold the house, we bought a condo, I said. A place with tight security, no spare keys, no guest room, a doorman who checks IDs, everything. You bought a condo just to get away from us? Eleanor's voice cracked. No, Michael said bluntly. We bought it to save our marriage. Do you realize how many arguments we've had about you? How many times Nora has cried because you criticized her cooking in her own kitchen? How many holidays have been ruined by your so-called helpful advice? If she can't handle constructive criticism, it's not constructive when you change her grandmother's stuffing recipe because it's too ethnic, Patricia cut in sharply. Everyone turned to look at her. What? Patricia continued. We all think it, but Michael's the only one who's willing to say it. Mom, you're exhausting. She's right, Marie added. James, my brother-in-law, chimed in. Remember when you tried moving in with us? Showed up with a truck full of stuff? We had to change our locks. That was different, Eleanor said sharply. You just had the baby and wanted to raise her your way. Linda, James's wife, jumped in. You threw out my breast milk because formula was easier. You rearranged the nursery while I was asleep. You told the pediatrician I had postpartum depression just because I asked you to leave. Eleanor's voice turned icy. I see how it is. My own children conspiring against me. Choosing their spouses over their mother. Choosing our sanity, Michael corrected. Choosing our marriages. Choosing to be adults instead of staying permanent children under your control. Richard. Eleanor turned sharply to her husband. Are you just going to let them speak to me like this? Richard stared at his plate. Eleanor, they're not wrong. We discussed this. The kids need space. You promised you'd respect boundaries. Boundaries? She whirled on him. Boundaries? I carried these children for 9 months each. I sacrificed everything. No one asked you to sacrifice anything, Michael said quietly. We just asked you to call before visiting, respect our choices, and treat our spouses like family instead of interlopers. That's it. And now you're abandoning us, Eleanor sniffed. Selling your house just to escape your mother. What will people think? Hopefully, they'll think we're adults making our own decisions, I said. Honestly, Eleanor, I don't care what they think. I care that I can come home without finding my closet reorganized. I care that I can cook dinner without being criticized. I care that my husband and I can have privacy in our own home. Privacy to do what? She sneered. Obviously not to make grandchildren, she added with biting cruelty. Michael stood, chair scraping the floor. We're done. Mom, Dad, you need to leave. Michael's voice stayed calm. Get your coats and go. Don't call again until you're ready to apologize to my wife. Apologize for what? Eleanor asked. For telling the truth. For being cruel about our fertility struggles. For trying to steamroll our lives. For treating Nora like an intruder in her own home. For everything. He moved to the door and held it open. Please go. Eleanor gathered her dignity like armor. Fine. But don't come crawling back when you realize family is more important than your precious boundaries. Family respects each other, Michael said. What you do isn't love, Mom. It's control, and we're done being controlled. They left in a storm of slammed doors and muttered complaints. Patricia lingered for a moment, hugged me quickly, and whispered, I'm proud of you both. Maybe now the rest of us can find our spines, too. After they left, Michael and I stood in our dining room, soon to be someone else's, surrounded by the remains of Christmas dinner. The turkey was cooling, the sides were untouched. I'm sorry about what she said regarding the baby stuff, he said quietly. It's not your fault, I whispered back. I leaned against him. You were amazing, and I can't believe you actually told them about the condo. I couldn't let her announce moving in as if it was a done deal, he said. Like our lives were just extensions of hers. He pulled me close. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I'm free. We're free. The condo doesn't really have a door, though, he admitted with a grin. I might have exaggerated, I laughed. But it does have no guest room, a separate entrance, and no spare keys. And the building doesn't allow subletting. She can't even rent it to get closer, he added. You're brilliant. I learned from the best. He kissed my forehead. Want to order Chinese food and eat straight from the containers? Really scandalized her. Only if we can use the good china she bought us. The stuff we save for special occasions. Deal. As we cleaned up the abandoned dinner, my phone buzzed. A text from Linda. James and I are listing our house tomorrow. Patricia's looking at apartments. You started a revolution. Thank you. I showed Michael, who laughed. Think Mom will realize she's the common denominator? Probably not. But it's not our problem anymore, he said. Our only problem now is packing and deciding which of her gifts accidentally don't make the move. All of them. Every last doily and decorative rooster, I said, and we laughed. It felt like finally taking a deep breath after being underwater. The house we'd sold had been beautiful, but it had never truly been ours. Not with Eleanor's fingerprints on every surface, her opinions embedded into every wall. Our new place would be different. Smaller, yes. No guest room, definitely, but truly ours. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is distance. And sometimes the best Christmas present is the truth, served with boundaries and a perfectly timed real estate closing. The turkey wasn't the only thing that fell that day. So did the facade, the pretense, and the suffocating weight of Eleanor's expectations. And honestly, it was the best Christmas dinner we never ate. If you love this story and want more dramatic, real-life tales, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode.